Hello everyone, welcome back to After Emoris, where the hit points don't matter, especially if you are the DM. We are joined today by Equa, the DM Master of Emoris, and also Grizlock, who plays Wade the Sorcerer. Hi guys!
Hi.
Hello.
I am doing okay. The weather is hot where I am. How about you guys?
It's actually cool here,
Yeah,
surprisingly.
it's not bad right now. We had a storm last
Fall's
night, so
finally
it's
coming.
okay.
Alright, so in this last episode, we had quite a few things happen, especially in arriving in Landpar, meeting a few familiar faces, meeting some new, very old faces, and the arrival and unfortunate leaving of Jeffrey. May he rest. But yes. So let's start right at the beginning here. So everyone got to Landpar, and we learned in the last After Amora session that it was technically episode 0 that Grizlock's Wade character, as well as Alchemist Free, and also Esprit's Elakian or Elikane had
Alkane.
actually met in Landipar. We got a little bit of a summary from Abnormal Chemist, but would you guys be able to give a little bit of a summary for our viewers who hadn't been able to check out episode 0 yet?
So episode 0 was not recorded, so nobody will ever see episode 0.
Oh my gosh.
That's the older one. She's a little bit more brawny, and she's a little bit more resistant to asking for help. So Ist was the one to ask you guys for help in dealing with a method problem, sort of like a pest control problem that had been plaguing their house. So they went over there. I think Elakian killed both of them. Wade didn't hit a single shot.
I
And
hit
then
one,
after that was all done.
but he was immune to fire. So,
Right, yes. So they were smoke and steam methods, which are both immune to fire. So
yeah. So it didn't matter.
Ah.
But it's interesting though, because that's where Griz, not just the characters, but also where Griz, Esprit, and Chem met.
First time.
But Landapar was the town that the one shot took place in when I did the charity one shot on Forgebreaker's channel, like a year and a half ago. And I played in that game with Felis and Dyto. So they
Ooh.
met me in that town as well. And who would have thought that that one shot had so many consequences for this town
Yeah.
30 years later? I did. So there.
Wow. Man. You know what, this whole Emoris thing it's all about like cause and effect. It's like we're waiting for like the Mandalorian to pop out of the Matrix somewhere.
Right? Wait until Elakian's actions catch up to him. How many stuff has he stolen from random people?
Ooh,
There's going to be consequences for all sorts of things. It's fine. Most of it was just small stuff anyway.
Well, we hope so anyway, and we hope that he never stole from the religious ground as well. Because, boy oh boy, I think that lady might be able to end him if that were the case. And speaking of that elderly woman, she was a tiefling, right?
She was. Yep.
Yeah, by the name of Faith. She gave me some really serious horror movie vibes. Like something out of The Conjuring or The Exorcist, or even a little bit of the movie Drag Me to Hell. Just unsettling. Don't know if it's a dementia that she has, but very vague, creepy. So obviously, Equa, you knew exactly what the characters were getting into, but wait, what did you think the characters were gonna counter besides the Maw demons?
Creepy little ghost girls.
That would have been fun.
Ooh.
I'm going to write that down.
Make it as a dream one-shot in the future. That would be great. Whose dream
it's
it is, we'll
surprising.
never know.
The one thing that I've learned that I am actually fairly good at DMing is like these weird horror, like scary scenarios. I seem to get the most reaction out of the group when I do those, which is weird because I hate horror. Like I'm not a horror person at all. I avoid scary at all costs.
And
So
I love horror.
But then again, you can have suspense, but no horror. So I think you're very much enjoying the suspense that you're creating.
True, I do like to see everyone squirm. I hate to say it, but Chem's really good to freak out. Chem is my favorite person to freak out in the whole group.
Yeah, she was very visibly freaked out, and seeing Elakian freaked out or reacting to be freaked out by Esprit there, that was really fun. It's
Yeah,
like, nope. Just watching the lady just gets like, are you doing something? Are you doing something? Is your head gonna go in a 360?
She's a nice lady. I don't know what you're talking about.
Alright, well, you heard it here first from the DM himself. Faith is a nice lady, so we'll leave it at that. Alrighty, so, is there a possibility that Wade's poncho could enable him to fly, or, as they say in Toy Story, falling with style?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I would, that's what I'm asking. Yes or no?
Maybe a form of flying, maybe not.
Falling with style, I'll accept that. Here's something. Equa, are there absolute limits that the poncho cannot do?
Oh, sure. Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff that the poncho can't do. So the poncho is homebrew, and as is the nature of Flight Rock itself, it's not the most stable thing in the world. So I'm not saying that it'll like explode or anything, but it is a new technology, and it is not incredibly strong. So there are only certain things that Wade can do with it, certain amount of times.
Yeah.
In a certain time period.
It's very well balanced. Essentially, the mechanics of it is that I have 3 charges, and that it can do a couple things, and each of those things costs a certain amount of charges, and then it can recharge after a long rest. But it doesn't recharge much, so it's very balanced. Put it that way.
That's good, because speaking of said poncho and seeing that little practical joke that Asmin put on the back of it, and we also got to see the practical joke that Izzy and Elakian pulled on those group of girls, and they even fooled the guards. What other kind of prank would your character, or in Equa's case, any character that he chooses, what kind of prank would your character pull on an unsuspecting person or group of people, and who would your accomplice be?
Interesting.
Like, for example, they're going to be in Keijo pretty soon, which means that Wade's going to be home, Asmin is going to be home. Surely there's going to be some people that they may want to remind why they're family in the area.
I mean, obviously Wade and Kev are a team, as are Kevin Asmin and Wade and Asmin. So anything that, at least when Kev had a body, Kev would do stuff with Wade all the time. I don't know about anyone else. Master Geth is a really interesting character that not a lot of people sort of got insight on. He's pranked people before, but he's more of a solo act than anything. So yeah, I think he's done a couple stuff.
I'll answer this one. It's probably easier for me as a player to answer this one. So as you saw, Wade's still trying to find a way to get back at Asmin. That didn't go over so well, backfired. You tried to just have Asmin's ear be talked off until she was annoyed. Not work. As apparently she just loves talking about magic too much. But back home, there is definitely some people Wade would want to prank, and not in a kind way.
Uh-oh.
So he would definitely, I think he would ask Thyra for help on that, because Thyra and him seem to have this connection with that kind of stuff. They understand each other's pranking and whatnot, so he'd probably go to Thyra for help.
Mm-hmm. And we obviously got a little bit of insight for Wade and Kev for how they were growing up. But so when your character was young, like below the age of like let's say uh, 10 years, what would have been the scariest thing that they encountered? Like, I'm assuming it's not the Ghost Gator as far as like a spooky tale. Like, something that they may have seen, like, it may not seem scary now, but in hindsight, it would have been terrifying. Like, for myself, I had a waking nightmare where my unicorn poster just decided to charge at me with demon red eyes. Is there anything along that lines of super scary? Yes,
A
true story.
unicorn.
Okay.
Yes, I had a lovely unicorn poster. I had a waking nightmare, and it was charging at me from out of the poster, and I had
take
to
it
beg
down
my mom
after
to
that?
take it down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
As
Okay.
it has since it had been donated, so whichever
Now it's
child's room
haunting
it
some
ended
other
up in.
child's dreams. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, hopefully it's not. Hopefully it got cleansed on the way out.
I have a feeling that for Wade and Kev, it is the Ghost Gator. That was definitely the single most terrifying thing that has happened to either.
Yeah.
For sure.
Even before it happened to them, like there were obviously it was a myth, it was an legend, so
Yeah.
they'd probably be scared of it regardless, to an extent.
I think they were like, it's like how so people in real life who go ghost hunting or something, you know, they go in, they don't expect to find anything, or maybe they just want to get like scared for fun or whatever. But then they go into it and they actually like find a freaking demon that starts attacking, throwing shit at them. Like, it's much scarier than they thought, than they were expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So probably, I mean, definitely the Ghost Gator is the most terrifying thing. Trying to think of another time where they'd have been afraid. Probably more realistic stuff. Like, there's a time that they were chased out of a winery. That was probably pretty scary. I don't know.
I've got a good one that is technically not a spoiler because it's a player thing.
Yes, share.
Madeline Moon is very, very terrified of hyenas.
Hyenas.
She's very terrified of hyenas. All right, I do gotta go now though, so
Alright, Equa.
that's all I say.
All right, then we're
Right.
going to take a technical break here, and we will be right back. Thank you for joining us, Equa.
No problem.
All right, everyone, we are back. Sorry for the little technical pause there, but we are now joined by Felis, who plays
Hello.
the delectable Isabel.
Yes.
All right, so Felis, I had asked Griz and Equa a little earlier what kind of feels they got from the lady face, the tiefling lady that was over at the church, because she certainly gave me like conjuring exorcist vibes. What kind of vibes did you get, or did Isabel get from her?
Okay, those are two very different answers. Because, as we mentioned in the episode, Felis, the person, has met Faith before. Because I played the one-shot that was set in Emoris, Emoris World, during a charity stream a while ago. So I knew her, so I was like, oh my god, it's Faith. I remember her, because my character tried to hug her.
Aww.
He's a little goblin, and he was weird and didn't know how to be a person. He also got knocked out by a door, whole thing. And Isabel just saw her as a priest. She doesn't like priests very much. So she was just like, oh, she's a priest. Yeah, great. So.
All right
How'd
then.
you go
So
about
yeah, we ended up the whole group, the Silver Goats, managed to encounter maw demons instead of something else. What did you think was going to happen down there? Because as Griz saw, they were going to like expecting little ghost girl. I was honestly expecting like zombies.
Yeah,
What were you expecting?
again, I had a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. I know what possessed the girl. I'm not going to say it because it's
Secrets.
yeah.
The
It's secret.
one shot I think it's still out there on Forgebreaker's channel, so
Sure.
if you guys are
and
interested.
if you want to find out, you can watch that. I'm not
Yeah.
going to say it.
Yeah.
Go give Forge some love.
Well, I'll certainly have to find it.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
I'll
I
get you a
was
link.
going by a different name back then, so you'll find out my old username. I think. Anyways, so I was expecting demons because I knew that it was a demon that had possessed the little girl. Which one, I won't say. So I expected demons. I didn't expect them to be as easy and yet as annoying as they were. So, yeah.
Forest
And
cute.
yet, yes, I had looked up some pictures, and so thank you, Felis, for managing to find out what the creature was called. And obviously, we saw that Wade got attached to one, already named it Jeffrey,
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
and Isabel just tore it in half or finished
half.
its split process.
I felt bad about it after.
I'll never forgive you.
That's
But
fine.
what did Isabel feel about it?
Oh, she hated those little things because they weren't hard to kill, but like they didn't die as fast as she would like them to have died, which is also my feeling is that they should have died quicker. And so also because I was really bad. Really bad combat. Like I was rolling really shitty. I wasn't hitting anything. I wasn't rolling very good. Like I rolled like I think decent damage. So it was a whole thing.
Yeah, it's also kind of sad. But so, on a slightly different topic, obviously over the weekend they had the DC fandom, which got quite a few fans, and even myself and Neop thinking, do you think there have ever been any vigilante type of heroes in Emoris or even in another realm of the D&D verse? If so, what do you think they'd be?
Griz, you want to go with this first? I have an answer.
I don't have an answer at the moment, so you go ahead.
It all depends on what type of world Equa's built, because like a vigilante. The difference between a vigilante and a bounty hunter is that one of them gets paid. So like a vigilante could just be a bounty hunter who just always gets paid. But I know that in other worlds, in games I've DM'd, there was a vigilante called the Red Dragon, which actually Isabel was kind of evolved out of this character and became very differently over the time. But the original character was Parasite was a warlock that had parasite powers and some other stuff, and became Isabel eventually. So yeah, it could be. It could be a vigilante. It could be a Batman, somewhere in the world.
That would be interesting. I would think that an artificer, since unfortunately I haven't seen any Dungeons and Dragons games with an artificer yet, but I was reading into them and they seem like they could be vigilante type.
Well, you might meet one if Isabel dies.
I mean, if we're talking classes, I think that any class could be put into a vigilante. I mean,
I'll let you continue about something.
Like Green Arrow could probably be like a rogue, or maybe a ranger. Nah, probably not a ranger, but like a rogue. Batman could be a monk. Like, I don't know. I think you could probably make a vigilante out of any class. Make it work.
So
that is very true.
Two things about that I was about to say is that one, I do have a Batman monk subclass that I bought from DM's Guild.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you can go check it out. Go get that guy. It's actually the same person who made the original symbiote warlock, which is the Parasite warlock is based off of. Also, the College of Swords or Blades, I forget what it's called, the Bard subclass, literally has flavor text that says that they tend to be vigilantes. They tend, people don't like to work with them because they tend to sneak out at night and fight crime. So there's literally a class that's just like, they're vigilantes. So, want to play vigilante?
Yeah, showman by day, Batman by night.
Essentially, it's just like, they have the tendency to go out and fight people all the time. Very
that
funny.
Sounds actually really cool. All right then. So, unfortunately, I don't really have any any more questions written up in the Q&A for D&D, but I do have just a general question for both of you guys. You can have it for in character or not in character. But what kind of festival games do you guys like to play? Like whack-a-mole or like throwing darts to pop balloons? I ask because there is apparently a festival coming up within 2 weeks of game time.
Yeah.
So what kind of games does your character or you like to play?
I like any sort of skill-based, like, throwing stuff. I enjoy, like, throwing knives, footballs through holes, kind of stuff. Pretty good at that stuff in real life. Wade? Probably similar, nah. No, maybe not throwing knives, but maybe, like, whack-a-mole. That sounds like something Wade would play. I don't know.
So for me, a little story was my high school once a year hosted a Green Day festival thing for Earth Day.
Wow.
And there was a dunk tank, and I was usually the one in the dunk tank. I loved doing it, a lot of fun, and I would insult people. I would yell at them and insult and make fun of their throws until they dunked me, which is a lot of fun. For festival games, stuff like that, like when I was a kid, like a lot, like I'm from Saskatchewan. There's a lot of snow-based games, so snowball fights were always fun whenever you get those. Yeah, things like that.
Mm-hmm. But would Isabel like any sort of games that could come up at the festival in Keijo?
Sure. She likes having fun.
I have a perfect one for Izzy.
What is it?
I think Izzy would be very good at bobbing for apples.
I was that's not a pie eating contest.
Because like Chaos's tongue just like grab an apple. Like nobody would see it either because your head would be in the bucket.
Do you know it's actually impossible to actually bob for apples?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
It depends on the size of the apples.
Yeah. Also, yeah. If the apple's bigger than your mouth, you can't actually grab it because it's tough.
You have to do crab apples.
Yeah, crab apples. Yeah. But for Isabel, skills of strength would probably be what she excels at, like the stuff like that.
For the mallet.
Or games of strength. Yeah, I was thinking the hammer thing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like throwing contests, things like that. She could do the games of skill, like Griz had mentioned, but I think she'd get mad if she didn't succeed quickly, and then just break it. So I think she should stay away from those, being like, I don't want to ruin everyone else's day. Like, she's mean. She's not that mean.
But would Isabel go in the dunk tank if they had one?
It would depend on how she's doing. Like, if she's in a good mood, she would. But if she's not, I don't know.
If Wade asked her?
Probably, yeah. She likes Wade.
Aww.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, Wade and Isabel are like my favorite relationship. Like, doesn't have to be like a romantic pairing. I just love them as a duo together.
It works pretty well because Isabel teaches them how to be like
tougher,
and he's teaching her how to be kind. Like, he's just like, yeah, you can stand up for yourself and like don't take shit. And she's like, yeah, but you don't have to break the guy's nose when you do it. And it's like, yeah, well, you killed his dog.
Like, it's an option. All right then. So I think we're actually gonna close her up here. So yeah, thank you to Equa, and thank you Grizlock, and thank you Felis for joining me on this After Emoris session.
Yeah,
and so make sure you tune in Mondays at 4:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, and Fridays for Lost in Phandelver, DM'd by Grizlock himself at the same time on Swindler's Den Twitch. So keep an eye on the social medias, which are all listed down below or off to the side here. And we hope that you have a wonderful day. And thank you guys for joining.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.